wonderful all this noise is. The topic today is patience. And so I just thought, yeah, it was ideal. Couldn't help but grin. Yeah, I used to, at our center where I was trained, we had a fire station right on the corner. So it was often quite an opportunity to practice patience during our meditations. So we are now into the 6 far-reaching attitudes, the 6 perfections. We're at the advanced practice of a Mahayana practitioner of the far-reaching attitudes of these 6 perfections. So as we enter into these, we can engage at the 3 different levels. At the level of just the beginning motivation to improve the quality of our lives, to really set ourselves up for a good continuum, or the intermediate, which is to really seek liberation, a liberation of suffering, of freedom from this conditioned existence, or the advanced, which is where we're really looking at this as the idea of bringing the full intention of being completely liberated, attaining enlightened state of a Buddha for the benefit of all beings, with the motivation to remove the suffering of all beings. And that is the bodhicitta aspiration. On one level, to really use our life to become enlightened now, and to free all beings from suffering. So again, it's not just, I want everybody to be happy and free of suffering. It's that I'm willing to become enlightened to help that. And it's not, I just want to become enlightened, and yeah, I want to help people too. It's really both, imbued with everything that we do. So when we can bring that motivation to really make the best use of our life, to remove the suffering in our lives of others as well, we can engage at different levels. So whether we're Buddhist or not, the idea of removing suffering in my life and helping others is helpful. And these tools will help that. If I have some sense that I can liberate myself and become enlightened, that there's this peace, well then that's a worthwhile endeavor. And if there's the aspiration that says, well, as I suffer, others suffer, and why should they suffer? Everyone you meet is somebody's brother, sister, mother. I really care about my grandchildren. Well, what about your grandchildren? Are they so different? Why not them? Why should they suffer? And that personal responsibility to recognize all beings as being a part of the life that we have, and really having that same love and kindness towards them, and being willing to do something about it. That's that bodhicitta that arises. And we've talked about the advantage of that. The advantage of something like that is it really, there's quite a few, but one that I find incredibly beneficial is if I have bodhicitta, I have a reason to get up every day. I have a reason to get motivated. I have a reason to stop wasting my life. I have a reason to really engage in this day that will never come again, that every day and every moment is an opportunity to cultivate my highest potentials. Every day and every moment is an opportunity to cultivate merit and wisdom. Every day and every moment is an opportunity to look at how I can improve the quality of my life and help others. And just like when you see your kid suffering, you're willing to do a lot to help that kid out. That same level of motivation can inspire you to live this day in a way that is really meaningful, that can help others and yourself. Can't really help others that much if we're not very healthy or well. So we really want to focus on what are our mental afflictions, what are our problems that prevent us from being even the person we'd like to be. What are these mental afflictions? What are these things that get in the way? I find it over the last 30 years of my life, the real fascinating question for me is, what is it that prevents me from doing the things I know are healthy in my own life? It just seems just so incredibly unusual that if I could write a list that here's 5 things to do to improve my life, I can do that. I can make that list. All of you can make that list. My high school students can make that list. Why can't we do the list? Why can't, if I want to be an honest and kind person, why do I lie? If I want to be a kind person, why do I get angry? If I, the list, if I want to be healthy and make good choices and be more patient or be more loving, and then I lose my patience. Why does that happen? If there's just some habits that I think would be healthy and I'm going to start doing those, and I start doing them for a day, and 2 days, and 3 days, and a week later I'm back to my old habits. What is it, And what we'll find is the only thing that's really restricting are my own habits, tendencies, and conditioning. And these afflictions really stand in the way of me living a life that I would like to participate in. And one of the biggest obstacles is where we're at today, is anger. I get angry. Is that beneficial? Is that beneficial? It's an interesting topic because some psychologists would say, yeah, anger's good. It provides the force and the energy to stand up and resolve a problem or an obstacle or to do something. And we may have found in our life that it has, right? We've gotten angry enough to do something about it. It provides that force. I was on an interfaith discussion panel in Ohio once with all these they had people from all different traditions, and that was the topic: anger. Is anger helpful? How can we work with anger? And all the way down the road, everybody said anger was good. Until me, I'm a Buddhist point of view. I'm like, well, anger's not beneficial. And they got angry about that. I mean, literally, really angry. I mean, there were people in the audience who got really pissed off and defended the use of anger and how it can be beneficial. And the point here is to think about, well, is that too loud for you guys? Or can you hear me? We could probably close the door. Would you mind? Okay. We have a bunch of people on the internet too, so conscious of that. Plus, I'm tempted to dance a little. So, anger, as it arises, sometimes you can direct that in a healthier way, right? Sometimes you can. So, but the point that we look at, well, what happens generally with anger? When you're angry, are you seeing clearly? Are you able to make healthy choices? It's really hard to make healthy choices when you're angry. It's really easy to say things that we regret. It's really easy to hurt people. It's really easy to do things that we're going to feel bad about. It's really easy to do things that we regret. And it's really easy to damage relationships with others. It's really easy to make spontaneous choices that are damaging. So when we're in a state of anger, it's really challenging to make a healthy decision. It's literally your judgment is subverted over the emotions override our judgment. That's what happens. It also happens when we're really happy, right? When we're really happy and it's all wonderful, we can make some bad choices. Right? And when we're really angry, we can make some poor choices. The thing about anger is that karmically, it just has the potential to destroy, just the roots of positive potentials within ourselves. to just destroy incredible amounts of merit and positive potential that we've accumulated. And it's not only destroying that and wiping out a lot of things that we've done, it plants these imprints. It grows. It's like watering the weeds in our consciousness instead of the flowers. It's just really harmful in that sense. So as we understand this, we can see that anger creates problems in our lives. And does it feel good? Does it feel good? Does it feel good? Anger is something that arises us in a way that just disrupts our whole... I mean, you can't be content and be angry. It just doesn't work like that. And so, when we look at anger, as it arises, it doesn't feel good. It rips apart all of our good potentials. It destroys relationships. It creates impulsive decisions that have lasting ramifications. And it physically harms people. I mean, it can quickly lead to that, and agitation and things, and it divides people. So, are we going to get angry? Well, yeah. You know, this whole debate around, I was at this discussion in this big retreat, whether anger is necessary, not necessary. So I think of it as a Venn diagram. Anger's necessary, anger is not necessary. And they overlap. Well, anger happens. It happens. So the point is, what are we going to do with it? And is it necessary in that sense? So the far-reaching attitude of patience, from a Buddhist point of view, is the antidote to anger. So when a Buddhist is talking about patience, I was really cultivating a deep sense of contentment, of well-being, of inner peace that is accessible even when things are unpleasant. When things arise that are unpleasant, you're untouched by it. You don't get caught up in it. So the far-reaching attitude of patience is really much more in line with equanimity, with this level of the depth of the ocean, with the waves on top that are happening, but the depth of the ocean isn't getting caught up in the waves. The waves are part of the ocean, but it's not really hitting the depth of the ocean. That you notice it arise, but you don't get caught up in it. That you're able to experience agitation, frustration, anger, unpleasant things, without really letting it affect you, and that level of patience. And so they talk about 3 levels. One is the first level of patience is not reacting, right? And you know, that's really a first level when we get upset, right? Often the best thing we can do is just not say something, right? I can't say anything skillful. I'm just not going to say anything, right? Get out of the room. Don't say anything. And the next level is really being able to endure the unpleasant situation. So as we cultivate patience, there's some ways of looking at it in the antidotes of anger. And one is, so Pema Chodron, she'll say that you do not cultivate patience when everything's good. Right? When do you cultivate patience? When the storm's rising, you know. But there are these methods where we can start to see, well, can I start working at patience and acquiring this antidote of sort of equanimity before I get angry? Because once you're angry, you're angry. It's on. It's hard to make a healthy choice. The Dalai Lama, you know, in his teachings, he really talks about the idea of the best way to stop anger, to deal with anger, is to not let it arise. Once it's arisen, we're in damage control. So let's look at patience as an antidote to prevent it from arising. So why does anger arise? Why does anger arise?
Because we're not getting our own way.
Because it's not, we're not getting what we want, right? The common theme just in Western psychology is anger arises when we're being thwarted from what we want, right? And so anger arises to remove the obstacle to get what I want. So anger arises, we would say, from a Buddhist point of view, that all mental afflictions arise out of misperception, that I'm not seeing accurately, that I'm delusional. I'm delusional. Now, if we can start to see that, if I can start to live more in reality, I'm not going to get angry. So, is this thing the cause of my anger? Is this person the cause of my anger? Is this situation the cause of my anger? And the pervasive delusion is, it is. But it's not, right? Because where is anger?
It's a mental affliction.
It's in our mind. It's not out there.
So you're really angry at your own mind and you don't even realize it.
The anger is in my own mind, right? And it's a mental state. What's happening out here is a condition, but what's creating the actual arousal is the way I perceive it, the way I relate to it, and the story I'm telling myself around it. So, I broke my leg, right? That sucks, right? Come on, it sucks to break your leg, right? Now, that's going to hurt. I broke my leg. Now, my mind can go to a lot of things like how unfair it is that I broke my leg. I just had a plan. I was going to, somewhere. Or my mind could go to, wow, I actually have legs. And I have insurance. And I get to heal. How fortunate. I get a little time off. Every event in our life, everything that arises, we can look at it in a different way. So even if we don't see it totally accurately, we can at least broaden our perspective, right? Stuck in traffic, late for an appointment, really frustrated in a hurry. Well, you have a car. You have somewhere to go. Where's the anger? The anger is, the anger is caught up in thinking that this appointment is that important, right? And we forget, right, that I've been late before, and somehow I lived. I've been in traffic before, and somehow I lived, and it was okay. So the misperception comes around, and it arises. It arises quicker than we can do anything about it. It arises quicker. So that's where, before we get angry, we can start bringing some more awareness into the moments of our life to cultivate patience. So cultivate patience in the way of being able to notice and be aware of small agitations in your life, and then question them. And if we can start working at a smaller level, like a noise, right? So they're building something out there. They're building something. Well, I'm trying to meditate. Well, that's frustrating. Well, what's really happening, right? What's really happening is there's a noise. It's just a noise. It's not even a painful noise if you listen to it. It's just a noise. But when my mind says, well, I'm trying to meditate and that's distracting me, then that noise becomes very harmful. But if you sit and just go, well, it's a noise, and how wonderful somebody's building. They're probably doing an addition in their backyard. Probably pretty cool. And they're doing something meaningful, and I'm doing something meaningful, and I'm meditating. And the noise actually provides me an opportunity to concentrate more. That's kind of nice. But we don't always go through that loop, right? Because we get agitated, and I'm trying to freaking meditate, and that damn noise is in there. And, the same thing happens, right? I use the analogy with the bird, right? We hear a noise, it's just a noise. Well, then my mind says, well, it's a bird. ah, I like birds. That's a nice noise. Or it goes, that's a bird. And I'm trying to meditate, and that's really annoying. It's not the thing itself. It's what I want to do. It's what I'm arising. It's my misperception of what's happening and my own desire and attachment to have something happen in a particular way. So if I'm meditating, why would I meditate? Well, I'd meditate to have some training over my mind. And what better opportunity than having someone pound into a thing while I'm trying to... It's a great opportunity. Now I have an opportunity to really meditate. How we look at something can change everything, right? I was riding a bus once because, I'd loaned a car out and anyway, long story short, I was feeling sorry for myself because I didn't have my car and somebody else has my car, and here I am in the rain and, waiting at the bus station one more time, getting on, poor me. And the bus came to a stop. And a blind woman got on. I remember it clear as, this was 30 years ago. But I can remember to this day where that bus stopped. Santa Anita and Huntington in Arcadia, California. And she was an Asian lady who was blind who gets on the bus. And it was just clear as day. She has to ride the bus every day. She never gets to drive. And here I am, because I'm not driving my car. Where's my anger? Where's my frustration? Instantly gone, and grateful that I can see that I can get on a bus, that I have somewhere to go. So you can start cultivating this sense of patience by starting to live in reality. And in reality is, at any given moment in our life, there's 1,000 things going our way. 1,000 things going our way. Electricity, water, I can walk, I can read and write, I have access. When you look at 7 billion other human beings, look at what we have going in our resources and opportunities. And that you have a rare and precious human rebirth with 18 specific qualities to achieve full enlightenment. And very few human beings have that. And you have it. You have it. What's there to get angry about again? One of the talks that His Holiness the Dalai Lama gave was on the cultivation of contentment. That if you're content, you can't be angry. Right? In order for anger to arise, there has to be dissatisfaction. And so there's a preemptive strike here that we can do in this patience, is to really see this patience and equanimity and contentment and use that as a resource to really immediately call our mind back to what we do have instead of what I don't have. If I'm angry, I am really caught up in a delusion that if this were to happen, I would be really happy. Right? And I'm pissed off because it's not going to happen. Right? I was going to go on this trip, or this thing was going to happen, or I was going to get this raise. And you can see where our mind creates dissatisfaction. A friend of mine called me because he was really stressed, and he was really debating over how to talk to his boss, because he was ready to step up and get a promotion. And he was ready to move to the next level, and he felt that he had earned it. He's worked hard at this job. He's done well. He's been successful. And he made this appointment, and then his boss had to put it off. And then a week goes by, and he's feeling like his boss is dodging him, and he's not getting his review. And he's getting kind of upset, and I don't want to be a doormat. I've earned this. I said, wow, a doormat. Let's take a moment and look at your job. He makes, triple-digit figures. He's got an expense account. They fly him to places. He has these photos taken in these incredible places and all things like that. So I would love to be the doormat you are. Let's pause. Before you had this job, what were you? And how happy were you before you decided you wanted the next advance? Well, I was pretty happy. And, by the time we got done talking, he's realizing, yeah, I'm pretty worked up over nothing. I have a great job. I have an incredible job. I love my job. I have an incredible amount of freedom. I get to do this. He created in his own mind a level of dissatisfaction, talking to himself about, I should be at this next level. When in fact, the level he's at is beyond belief. I mean, I remember when he had a little studio apartment, no car, and had to ride a bike. His kids are through college, and just things change. So those outer circumstances, we get the idea that I'll be happy if. And what happens when we get that? Well, then I'll be happy with something else. And then I'll be happy with this. And so if we can bring our mind back to reality, as if we are living closer to the nature of how things actually are, those mental states can't arise. The mental states is wrapped up into some delusion that something can provide me more happiness than it can, some delusion that you're the cause of my suffering rather than how I'm viewing you, some misperception about impermanence or myself. And so if we want to cultivate patience, there's some nice little things that we can do in our day. And our day is to notice when little agitations come and go. To notice them. Because we don't tend to notice them. We get agitated, and then we do something, and then we do something else, and then we feel good, and then that comes and goes. And then we get worried, and then, we get worked up, and then that comes and goes, and then we get some new information, that comes and goes. And what happens is throughout our day, we've had a range of emotions, activities, we've gotten agitated, we felt good, and this day came and went, but I've been distracted and unconscious and just going along with each thought that my mind gave. And at moments being real happy, and other moments being sad, and other moments, and I wasn't really conscious and really aware of, as the agitation arises, noticing that it came and it went. And what we'll start to notice then is that I am not angry. Anger came and went, and I'm still here. Agitation came and went, and I'm still here. Joy came and went, and I'm still here. Dissatisfaction came and went, and I'm still here. We'll start to notice that I am not my feelings. They come and go. They are impermanent, and they are not me. They're the waves. I'm the ocean. The waves are a part of my experience, but I'm not them. And this day, if we look back with some reflective piece on this day, and if we've paid attention that this agitation came and went, this joy came and went, this came and went, at the end of the day, to actually bring some consciousness to it, some reflection in my day, I can start to notice the ebb and flow of these things. And then notice, what is it that I'm doing that is satisfying? And what is it am I doing that creates dissatisfaction? And what we'll continually come back to is what I'm doing that creates satisfaction are things that are ethical and meaningful to me. When I do things that I feel good about, I'm going to create that peace and contentment in my life. And it's coming from me, it's not the event. The outer event provides an outside stimulus, and I'm happy for as long as I have it. And then as soon as it's gone, I desire more. So patience is really this deeper understanding of how things are, and developing the ability to know that these things that arise that are uncomfortable, that are temporary, they are temporary. They will come and go. But my patience can be enveloped with wisdom. The wisdom to know that what really matters is how I respond. How I respond. That's what matters. And can I respond in a way that doesn't damage relationships, myself, doesn't create pain and suffering? Or can I respond in a way that cultivates some contentment and peace and meaning in my life? So patience is this thing that we want to cultivate in a way in our daily life before we get angry. As we get angry, then we're in damage control. And then what do we want? We want to rely upon patience, right? Anyone will tell you, it's not a big mystery, it's not a big Buddhist teaching. When you get angry, what does people tell you to do?
Take a breath.
Breathe, relax, get out of the room, give yourself space, right? Patience is the antidote. Because when the anger comes and goes, then I can react, you know. So this is not the time, you know what they say, when you're angry is not the time to hit send on the email. It's not the time to tell someone what you think. It's not the time to do that. That comes and goes, then I can engage. And so when we take the far-reaching attitude of patience, we really want to bring in perspective and clarity into what's happening. So, for example, a challenging event. The person that, let's look at any challenging event in your life, and you will find that in those events are the times that you had your greatest chance to grow, right? When you look at your greatest growth in your life, it came from a challenging event. We do not generally cultivate our highest potentials when everything's great. That's not when we cultivate patience. That's not when we cultivate wisdom. It's not when we do our efforts to really improve. When it's all good, you know, I'm looking to kick back, get in a jacuzzi, and enjoy life. I'm not thinking about working with my mind. I'm not thinking about putting in the effort to improve the quality of my life, or doing my inventory, or working on myself. When somebody dies, when I lose my job, when divorce happens, when somebody yells at me, when something goes wrong, well, all of a sudden, I start thinking about what's meaningful and important in my life. So putting it that way, we start to understand that other people in these difficult times are the cause for your enlightenment. They're the cause for you to cultivate your highest potential. As a matter of fact, without them, you couldn't do anything. Right? Don't even get me started on where your food came from. Right? That piece of bread, who harvests the bread, and all that stuff. You know, everything that we have, I mean, any little item, you know, how did you get it? How many people were involved? How many buildings were involved in the roads that it had to travel on, and the cars, and who built the cars? Everything we have in our life is others. The fact I can speak, the fact I can read, this note, where'd the paper came from, who made the paper, where'd the printing come from, on and on and on. Everything we have is because of others. You are the cause for my enlightenment. I could not cultivate anything in my life, any joy, any wisdom, any knowledge without you. And yet I'll see you as my problem. So at the monastery, when we're angry and upset, you know, when I was in the monastery, you know, you'd want to go complain to an old Tibetan Lama about, you know, so-and-so and how they're not doing something right. When they'd hear your complaint, when they got done laughing at you, they would say, so let me get this straight. You're mad at the cause for your enlightenment, right? Okay, I'll leave now. They're the cause for your enlightenment. The people that really agitate us show us something about ourselves and give us the opportunity to look at my misperceptions, my mental afflictions, because my anger's in my mind, it's not in them. My anger's arising because I want them to be different. I want the world to be different. I think the world should be different than it is. Good luck with that plan. The world is this way for a reason, right? Everything that arises for a reason. There's a cause. If there's an accident on the highway, I bet you we can find the cause of the accident. If I break my leg, there's a reason I broke my leg. There's something that happened. Everything that's arising, there's a reason for it. And if my mind says it shouldn't have happened, I'm delusional, automatically. So it's a wise acceptance of what is arising is actually happening. And if I'm living with contentment, with wisdom, with patience, well, then my question isn't that it shouldn't have happened. It's, okay, what do I do now that it's happening? How is this giving me an opportunity to cultivate merit and wisdom? How is this giving me an opportunity to grow? What can I do to make this better? If I can't accept it, I can't improve it. Accepting something doesn't mean I like it. It just means now I can work with it. And I can look at its true causes and I can work with it. When I'm angry, I can't do that very well. So yeah, this is the nature of things. One of the methods for patience, I'll just say it's because it's kind of a fun method. It's called the nose in the face method. I think that's what it's called, nose in the face. So it says, somebody criticizes us, or somebody, something, yeah, let's go with criticizing us. And, it's not fun when somebody criticizes us. And the method here is to say, well, if they're criticizing me or they're saying something I don't like, the question is what they are saying true? Regardless of if they're angry, regardless of things, is it true? And it might be true. Or I did something and they're telling on me and I don't feel good about that. And they say, well, if it's true, then it's just the same as them saying you have a nose on your face. Well, I have a nose on my face. I don't really care that I have a nose on my face. It's not a big deal that I have a nose on my face. Likewise, these situations that happen, they just happen, just like I have a nose on my face. Mine's kind of large. People could stand out of the rain under it, probably. But it's a nose on my face. Big, small, it's just what it is. And likewise, if people share something, that's kind of like them pointing out the obvious. Yeah, this is true. If it's true, then we move on. My problem is not wanting something to be true. It's going to be problematic. And it's going to create agitation, dissatisfaction. Yeah. And so the similar piece, let me see where I'm at, with anger then is to not fall in the trap that I shouldn't be angry. Because if you're angry, you're angry. So don't be upset about being angry. Because what's it do? It creates more anger. So back to the Venn diagram, whether anger is beneficial or not beneficial. In the middle part where they both meet is anger happens. And the important thing is, what do I do with it? What do I do with it? It's going to happen. It happens. The more I live in reality, the less it can arise. And so if we can start with remembering some things that are true. Some things that are true. One of the big things is, this day will never come again. That's a really powerful tool for patience and to eliminate anger. Here's a day that will never come again. This day in your life will never come again. You are now one day closer to your death. That's true. Do you want to spend it being angry? Here's a day that will never come again. How do you want to live it? Do you want to cultivate the seeds of ethics and values and meaning in your life? Or do you want to cultivate anger, resentment, jealousy, frustration? What do you want to do? Here's a day that'll never come. What's going to matter? So if this is my last day, what's the most important thing in my life at the time of death? And is it all the things I get angry about and how I think the world should be? Will that matter? Probably not. So one of the things is to come back to reality. Reality is, here's the day that'll never come again. How do I want to live it? My mental states of anger and agitation are not fun. Contentment and satisfaction is fun. It's peaceful. It's healthy. Do I want to have contentment and wellness and inner peace? Or do I want to have anger? So we really want to take some time to see the unbeneficial attributes of anger and the benefits of cultivating a life that is peaceful and satisfying and meaningful. And remember, here's a day that will never come again. Now, I'm sure all of you have been angry at some point in your life. Right? Gotten really worked up, really rageful, really indignant. And here we are now, today, in beautiful Carbondale. And people can walk and talk in our lives there. And look at the life you have and all the things you have to be grateful for. This is something that helps us prevent it from arising, is remembering the truth of the life that we have. There's 1,000 wonderful things going on at any given time in your life right now, in a day that will never come again. And when I'm getting angry, as quickly as you can note, I am now delusional. It will help you. Because anger is arising in dependence upon me misperceiving what's happening. I really believe that if something was supposed to happen that didn't happen, or that if something would have happened, I'd be a lot happier. In other words, that my happiness is contingent on something out there. Or that my suffering is contingent upon something out there. When in fact, it's in my mind. Anger's in my mind, it's not out there. Pain can happen out there, right? I break my leg, it's going to hurt. But mental suffering, anger, resentment, jealousy, and anger, agitation, that's all in my mind. And it's in my mind not being able to accept what is actually happening. Patience is about being able to accept wisely what is actually happening. And to bring my mind back to clarity and wisdom. So in this sense, the patience is really embedded in equanimity, in the sense of understanding that everything that happens to us, everything is an opportunity to cultivate our highest potentials. If I'm eating a delicious meal, that is an opportunity to be healthy and well and nourish myself in a way that allows me to go out and do some good things. If I'm eating cold cereal, it's still an opportunity to nourish myself in a way that will help me be healthy and well. If I'm having a traumatic event of someone yelling at me in a really violent way even, this is an opportunity for me to see the suffering that creates anger. Nobody's yelling at you when they're happy. They're yelling at you because they're suffering. They're dissatisfied and they're angry. And it allows me the opportunity to respond to them with compassion and wisdom in a way that deals with what they're doing in a skillful way, which cultivates our ability to respond and live with others in a healthier way. We can cultivate merit and wisdom in all things. And when harmful things happen, from a Buddhist point of view, you've just purified some karma, right? So again, broken leg, good, got rid of that karma. It's gone. I don't have the karma for a broken leg, it's gone. I've just purified a bunch of karma. I bumped my car into a pole, Yeah, good, man. That karma's gone. Because that karma would build, and sometime that accident would be a bigger accident. Karma's gone. The other thing is, I backed my car into a pole. I have a car. I only hit a pole. How fortunate no one got injured. Right? Someone almost hits me on the highway. What kind of idiot is that? These crazy people. Well, they didn't hit me. I'm okay. I'm in my car. You'll notice that it's my attitude, it's my perception, it's what I'm paying attention to that is the catalyst for the angry state of mind. The mental affliction's there, but it doesn't arise without these conditions, and it doesn't arise unless it doesn't grow unless I water it. And so if we have anger, it just has this damaging potential to just wipe out an incredible amount of potentials we've already accumulated in our life. Good karma, essentially. Yeah. I have this these notes I was going to peek at. I'm just trying to think about what these notes are. So, I think we're covering most of them in general. Okay, so one of the things that it does provide, so when we think about it, is the awareness of our own challenges, our own buttons, basically. What is it in ourself that we need to work on? That's the greatest source of people that we are really challenged by, that we get angry with, that we get agitated by. You know, that person in the car, you like, can you imagine having that person you really don't like, and now you're in a car with them for an hour by yourself? God, it's gonna suck. You can feel the tension, like, really, them in the car with me for an hour? I'd rather stick needles in my eye. Where's the agitation? It's in my mind. Matter of fact, you can tell me, guess what? You have to ride with so-and-so for an hour tomorrow. You know what I'm going to think about all day? I have to ride with so-and-so for an hour tomorrow. It's going to be intolerable. My day's ruined. It hasn't even happened. He's not even here. My mind's worked up over something that hasn't happened yet. And over a perception about what it's going to be like and who this person is. And where's my real frustration? Is I think they should be different than they are. What would happen if I viewed this person through the eyes of them being my dear old friend or brother? And said, yeah, just like me, this person is trying to avoid suffering. Just like me, this person's trying to find their way. Just like me, this person has had sadness and suffering in their life. And they have hardships. And I'll have an hour with them to maybe be of some benefit and listen with them. All of a sudden that anger's not there, the agitation's not there. Where's the dissatisfaction? It's in my mind. It's always in my mind. And if you really want to cut it out, is to start seeing that, start noticing how any event, so today, you can take a look at any event today, pick it up, and if I saw this same event through the eyes of love and acceptance, how would it be? This person that I don't like, if I saw them as someone who has experienced a lot of pain and suffering just like me, who's trying to find their way just like me, how would I feel about them? And see how it changes. What changes then, based on my perception and how I bring my mind to it. And so we can work with it before it gets angry by being observant in our day, mindful. So mindful of our day, mindful of our interactions, mindful of if I get agitated with someone, take a little review and go, why was I agitated? Why was I agitated? Was I agitated just because it could be as easy as I was hungry and tired? You notice when you're hungry and tired, that person's really annoying. And when you just got off from a great vacation and you're all happy, that person doesn't annoy you at all. So pay attention. Where's my annoyingness come from? And if we bring some consciousness to it when we're not angry, we can reflect on it and see how we can bring that into our situation. So when we become a little agitated, we can bring that level of clarity back to our mind. He says, yeah, I'm agitated. But you know what? The agitation's temporary. What's really happening here? What's really happening is I'm sitting in a room. I can read and write, and I can walk and talk. I'm here with another human being who, just like me, is trying to find their way. And what a gift, because there's people out there who don't have electricity, can't read or write. I mean, look at what's happening with the Syrian refugees and just trying to survive. And I'm agitated because I have to sit in a car with someone I don't like. Yeah. It's in my mind. So we want to keep coming back to that. So patience then is really this opportunity to start with the first level of not reacting. That first level of cultivation is just not reacting. Just starting to notice it come and go where I don't have to say something. I don't have to react. I can just allow my anger to come and go. And at that state, too, we don't want to think that I'm bad because I'm angry. No, anger's just arising. It's just arising. We're human. It's messy. Life is this messy place. What's my expectation? Is my expectation that my life should not get messy? I shouldn't break my leg. I shouldn't get cancer. I shouldn't lose my job. My relationship should last. Is that a realistic view of the world that we live in? Probably not, because you're going to look around. People get broken legs. I see you got a little splint. People hurt their arms. People get cancer. We have hospitals. I mean, this is the nature of the world we live in, and for some reason I think the rules shouldn't apply to me. I have a delusional mind that says I eat right, exercise, I'm going to live a long time. Could die tomorrow. That's reality. Our agitation comes from thinking reality should be different than it is. And that for some reason the rules shouldn't apply to me. And so we really want to keep bringing that back. So patience then is noticing the agitations arise, noticing without having to react, and allow them to come and go. And then kick it to that next level and go, what's the real button? What's the real button? Why am I so agitated? What am I attached to? How am I misperceiving this? The next level of that becomes really this patience of Dharma, that you can turn any situation into cultivating truth and wisdom and Dharma. So any situation you can cultivate merit. Anything that's happening becomes an opportunity to cultivate merit and wisdom, to respond to it in a healthier way, to respond to it in a way that's beneficial. So the question becomes, whatever's happening, what's the best and healthiest way for me to respond? What can I learn from this situation? How can I grow? In which case, we can really cultivate the path to enlightenment. So patience in a Buddhist context is this much deeper level of ability to sit with uncomfortable situations, uncomfortable feelings, and not get caught up in them. So it's really related to that equanimity of allowing things to come and go. And it's not that we stuff them. It's not like stuffing anger. Anger comes and goes. If you stuff it, it's not very helpful. It comes and goes. I'm experiencing anger. It'll come and go. But questioning what's its real source becomes an opportunity to cultivate wisdom and see truth. And an opportunity to understand what is it in my mind that is attaching to or grabbing that's going to create problems in my life. And if we can not grab onto the anger and not grow it, it's one of the most powerful things we can do, because the anger destroys. It really wreaks havoc on our karma. Attachment, we've got 3 poisons: the misperception, anger, and attachment. Misperception is the root. If we see clearly, those other things don't arise. But attachment creates some problems. But attachment doesn't need to destroy our karma. Anger does. Anger, in a moment of anger, we can do a lot of damage. I mean, this is how we kill people. This is how we hurt people. This is how we destroy relationships. Anger can create so much. I mean, and we've all done this, I'm sure. I mean, I know just writing a sentence to a friend that I really liked because I was jealous, just destroying relationships, and losing friends and doing things. It's just so damaging. So being aware of that first level of patience is allowing the anger to come and go without having to react, to be able to be uncomfortable. This is that first level of patience. And then within that patience, try to bring our mind to perspective and what's the modern psychology phrase? Reframe it. Reframe a situation, right? Reframing. They're talking about. See it differently, right? As we said, somebody almost hit you in a car. Well, they didn't hit me in a car. I have a car. Let me put some Neil Young on. Things are good. What we pay attention to becomes our reality. And when you're angry, you're caught up in something, in a loop that's not tangibly based in any reality. So it's good to know. So just to bring us back into the full context of the path, this path of the Lamrim, we're in the highest motivation of really trying to be of benefit to all beings. So for a far-reaching attitude, it's really that I'm becoming patient, and this is a nice thing. Maybe I can't be really patient for myself, but when I start thinking about all others, that I can be patient for them. That as I'm patient, I'm going to be able to help all of you. I'm not going to damage the people around me. I'm not going to create more problems in the community. So that maybe I don't have the strength to do it for myself today. But when I wake up every day, think that everything I do can help everybody else, then we're really bringing that bodhicitta in. So a really good motivating force. The first one was ethics. Again, ethics becomes that opportunity to cultivate that contentment and satisfaction in our life, because when I do things that I feel good about, guess what? I feel good. When I do things I don't feel good about, I don't feel good. Our inner peace, contentment comes from us. It doesn't come from the outside world. It comes from responding to it in a way we feel good. So we cultivate ethics. And generosity. Generosity was the first one, then ethics. So generosity was the mind that is open and giving, and it's the antidote to an attachment. It really creates a freedom to give with a kindness, which allows us to be more ethical. And then as our ethics become the ground from which we can grow, we really start working with the mind of patience. And that's where we're at here, is that mind of patience, to be able to allow ourselves to be uncomfortable and allow it to come and go and see it for what it is, to notice it, to reflect upon it later and know and investigate what was the real cause of my suffering. And was it that bad? Because it's the wisdom that liberates it. If I don't look inside, it just keeps arising. If I keep thinking that I shouldn't have a broken leg, I shouldn't have problems, it's going to be a tough road, because things happen. So keep bringing our mind back to reality. And then the next one, which we're going to, is joyful effort. First, it's called perseverance, I think. And ultimately, it becomes joyous effort. And so these 6 perfections, these 6 far-reaching attitudes, are that bodhisattva path. And we're right up at 7. I did want to see, did anyone have a question? Anything that arose? Yeah.
So, how does this all relate to negativity? To sometimes I said something today that was a negative remark earlier today, and I don't know why I said it.
Yeah.
And so it was a remark about someone that didn't do anything, and it was weird. And so I've been thinking, where does that relate? Was there anger involved? And I don't know where it was. But it seems like that's patience and negativity and anger all kind of mushed together. You know what I mean? All kind of a part of each other. And I can't quite...
Yeah, so you're just saying negativity. What you're really saying, though, is that you said something that was harmful.
Yeah, but they didn't know. They weren't even in the room. It was about, but just a quick remark, and I'm sitting here thinking, why did
it come from? Yeah, and that's something for you to really investigate yourself. But where it won't arise is if you're content. Again, a state of dissatisfaction brought it up. And we do a lot of that with others. We judge others all the time in relationship to how we think they should be or how we think the world should be. And based on that, we can certainly say something that is judgmental or harmful when they're not around.
And that must have to do with anger somewhere.
Yeah, well, anger's coming from discontent and an agitation. And why are we angry? Because we think it should be different than it is. And so anger arises in the sense of to remove an obstacle, to deal with it. So you know what happens when we give what we have. So when I'm angry, guess what I give people? When I'm suffering, guess what I give people? When I feel miserable, guess what I give people? When I have a lot of love, kindness, and peace, guess what I get to give people? And so it could be as simple as not even about them, but you were just maybe not in a particularly good spot, and that was a trigger.
I'm analyzing it.
Yeah, it's good to look at.
Because I'm angry at myself.
Yeah, now that you need to let go of. Being angry at ourselves just does not help. Yeah, and here's the other thing. That's already gone. And here's a whole new moment. And where's my mind? On something I shouldn't have done. And I'll say, well, what do you mean you shouldn't have done it? You did it, right? And you didn't try to do it. And so there's a cause for it. So the real understanding, to be gentle with ourselves, is at any given time, we did not screw up our life. At any given moment, we didn't do something to mess things up. We did the best we could in that moment, based on how I felt, based on my emotions, based on my level of awareness or not, and what was happening. What I did was the best I could do at that moment. At that moment, that was the best I could do. When I think I could have done something different, I'm delusional. Because I would have. I couldn't have. So a real nice, gentle way of being forgiving for ourselves is to remember that we are doing the best we can. And in those moments, at that moment, that was the best I could do. It doesn't mean I shouldn't apologize or be better. It just means that at that moment, that was the best I could do. And the best amends I can make is be better now. So it doesn't really help at all to have a mind that's agitated and judgmental. It's much better to let go of that. And if I really want to make amends, is to be better now. It's the best thing I can do. Yeah. All right. Well, let's do a little dedication. Dedicating the merit and wisdom we've accumulated here today for the benefit of all beings. And I thank you all so much for being here today. Let us dedicate the virtue and wisdom we have accumulated both here today and throughout our lives, both individually and collectively. We dedicate this for the benefit of all beings. May all beings be free of suffering and find lasting happiness. And may we be able to use the merit and wisdom accumulated here today and throughout our lives to purify our own minds, to cultivate our own enlightenment, to be truly liberated from suffering so we can help all other beings be free. All right. Well, thank you all so much. It's always a joy to share the Dharma with you. And thank you online. May you all be well, be happy, try to stay out of trouble. All right.